Hello, thank you for joining us and thank you for your interest in the grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics growth assessments, information for teachers. This video has been developed to ensure teachers have the information they need regarding the grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics growth assessments. After viewing this video, you should be able to answer these questions. What are the grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics growth assessments, and why are we administering them? What information is available for you as a teacher about each student's performance on the growth assessments? And what information will the parents of your students receive about their child's performance? First, let's talk about what growth assessments are and why they are being administered. The growth assessments have been developed in grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics in response to legislation enacted by the 2021 Virginia General Assembly. These computer adaptive tests are shorter than the normally occurring SOL assessments that students take in reading and mathematics in grades 3 through 8 each spring. This new law requires a fall and spring assessment to be administered to measure growth during the 2021-2022 school year. It also requires that beginning in the 2022-2023 school year and beyond, assessments must be administered in fall, mid-year, and spring to measure growth. In both of these cases, the spring assessments will be the regularly occurring SOL test in grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics. To meet the requirements of the new law, Virginia Department of Education staff, along with the assessment contractor, developed the shortened computer adaptive test, or CAT test, using existing SOL test questions and item banks. This will ensure that all of the test items on growth assessments are aligned to the Virginia Standards of Learning, that all items have been reviewed by Virginia teachers, that all items have been field tested with Virginia students, and that these items have been accepted by Virginia teachers for use on state assessments. For the 2021-2022 school year only, the fall growth assessments measured content from the previous grade level and not the student's current grade level. Due to many different learning environments in the 2020-2021 school year, such as virtual, in-person, and hybrid, having these fall 2021 growth assessments measure content from the previous grade level should help schools identify any unfinished learning that may have resulted from the 2020-2021 school year. This information is intended to inform instruction throughout the current school year as new content is introduced. We also would like to note that the fall 2021 grade 3 growth assessments use grade 3 SOL test items that primarily focused on content covered by the grade 2 standards, as there were no grade 2 SOL test items currently available. Again, please note, the regularly occurring SOL test in grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics that students will take in spring 2022 will serve as both the spring growth assessment, and these tests will continue to serve as a summative assessment used for accountability. You may wonder what information is available to you as a teacher regarding your students' performance on the growth assessments. A student detail by question, or SDBQ report, is available for each reading and mathematics test completed by a student. You may already be familiar with the SDBQ reports that are available for the regularly occurring Standards of Learning test completed by students each spring. The SDBQ reports for the grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics growth assessments include much of the same information and follow a similar format, although there are some differences we will point out later in this video. It is important to realize that the SDBQ reports available for the fall 2021 growth assessments serve a different purpose and have a different intended focus than the SDBQ reports available after SOL testing in the spring. You may have experience with using information from an SDBQ report that results from spring SOL testing to help a student prepare for an expedited retake. In that particular situation, the focus is on intervention or remediation of skills and content that have already been taught during the school year. The SDBQ reports from the fall growth assessments serve a different purpose, and the approach to using the report should differ from one you may have used to prepare a student for an expedited retake. When using the SDBQ reports from the fall 2021 growth assessments, the focus is on the student's readiness for the current grade level instruction that will be occurring throughout the entire 2021-22 school year. As a teacher, you are looking at the information and asking, does my student's performance on specific content and skills from last year indicate that they are ready for the instructional unit I am planning to deliver? Or does it indicate that they may need supports in order to be successful?
Parents will have access to the student detail by question or SDBQ report as it is provided by the school or through the parent portal, and are likely to have questions for you based on the information in the report. Let's take a look at the SDBQ report to make sure you are aware of the report's details and will be prepared for those questions or concerns that parents may have. The SDBQ report is the only student level report available for the fall 2021 growth assessments. The SDBQ report has been edited specifically for the fall 2021 growth assessments. However, it maintains many aspects of the standards of learning test version of the report that you are likely familiar with. There is going to be one report for each test completed by the student. So if a student took a reading and a mathematics growth assessment during fall 2021, there would be two reports for that student. Every SDBQ report will print on a single page. So a student that has taken two assessments and has two SDBQ reports will have two pieces of paper for each report, or one piece of paper for each report. The growth assessment version of the SDBQ report contains student demographic information, the test name, and vertical scaled score. As well, there are item descriptors in each reporting category representing the test items answered by the student. Since the student demographic information and the test name on the report is pretty straightforward information that you're likely familiar with, I'm going to begin this part of the presentation by talking about the vertical scaled score on the report. The vertical scale score is a new type of score that is being reported for the fall 2021 growth assessments. The primary purpose of the vertical scale score is for use in determining student growth when comparing the spring 2022 SOL test vertical scaled score with the vertical scaled score from the fall 2021 growth assessment. Since the fall 2021 growth assessments measured last year's content, the vertical scaled score can also provide another estimate of a student's overall performance on the content taught last year. Gaining an understanding of student knowledge on last year's content will assist teachers in planning for appropriate supports for students as they learn this year's content. To begin, this is the vertical scaled score range, which goes from 900 to 2,000 as students progress through grades 3 through 8. The Office of Student Assessment has created a document titled Interpreting Fall 2021 Vertical Scaled Scores, Grades 3 through 8 Reading Growth Assessments. There is also a mathematics version of this table that will be available to families and students on the Parent and Caregiver Resources for Growth Assessments page, which will be on the VDOA website. This screenshot is of the reading table that parents can use to gain an understanding of what the vertical scaled score attained by their student means from a performance and preparedness perspective. As you can see in the header row and footer of the table, student performance is divided into 3 categories. Needs additional support as new content is introduced throughout the year, may need some additional support as new content is introduced throughout the year, and is most likely prepared to learn current grade level content. So as a parent, if my child took the grade 4 reading fall 2021 online growth assessment based on grade 3 content and earned a vertical scaled score of 1440, then they will be in the column for may need some additional support as new content is introduced throughout the year. This provides the teacher and the family with an indication of how well the student learned last year's content and what may need to occur with this year's instruction for the student to be successful. The most impactful data included in the SDBQ report for the fall 2021 growth assessments is the item descriptor data by reporting category. In the SDBQ report, the item descriptors are separated according to reporting category that they fall in based on the test blueprint. The items in each reporting category are sorted by the items answered incorrectly, starting with the highest level of difficulty to the lowest level of difficulty, then items answered correctly from the highest level of difficulty to the lowest level of difficulty. In addition to the item descriptor, the SOL content standard number associated with each item descriptor is also included. As well, the level of difficulty, high, medium, or low, of each item descriptor is indicated. Teachers are encouraged to review the SDBQ item level data to assist in determining content where students may need additional support as new grade level content is being introduced. So let's take a look at a reading example, which is on the screen. Item descriptors that measure similar content are coded with the same color highlighting. As parents review their child's SDBQ report, they are encouraged to look for patterns like these to assist in determining areas where their child may need additional assistance. We hope that parents and teachers will be able to use the information learned from the SDBQ report to engage in conversations about their child's performance and strategies to increase achievement. In this example, a conversation about strategies to assist the student in summarizing information from nonfiction texts may be necessary to assist the student with their reading proficiency. This is a mathematics SDBQ example. As indicated previously in the presentation, the fall growth assessments were created with the intention to help assist teachers with identifying learning gaps that will impact student readiness for this year's grade level content. Utilizing the SDBQ report and analyzing the item descriptor data will assist teachers in identifying areas of both strength and areas for growth for the students they teach. And as parents become more aware of the information in the SDBQ report, the home-school partnership can become more aligned with robust conversations about the types of support students will need to maximize their learning.
Now that you are more familiar with the information included in an SDBQ report, let's take a look at the information the parents of your students will receive and how they will be able to access that information. A new and innovative method has been developed for sharing the growth assessment results with parents. The Virginia Parent Portal is a web-based system where parents will be able to access information about their child's performance on the fall 2021 growth assessment and the spring 2022 standards of learning test once it is administered. Parents will be able to access their child's student detail by question report for each growth assessment completed. School divisions that opt to use the parent portal will provide necessary information to parents, such as how their child's name appears in Pearson Access Next. This is important because there is a character limit in the fields, and it may be such that a child's name has been shortened in that system. A unique claim code that is case sensitive will also be provided by schools so that parents will have secure access to their child's assessment data. After parents receive this information, they will then be able to create an account and claim their child's growth assessment information. Once the parent has created their account and claimed their child's test results with the information provided by their child's school, they will have access to a PDF version of the SDBQ report. This report in the portal is identical to the version that you have access to in your school division. Most families will be able to access a personalized video via the parent portal that will describe the parts of their child's SDBQ report. This video is intended to highlight different portions of the report and will provide examples of the types of information that families will want to look for and think about as they review the report. This video also includes a statement that encourages parents to meet with their child's teacher if they have questions about the information in the SDBQ report. Teachers should be aware that in some instances, this video will not be available. In the event that a parent has questions about why a video is not available for their child, please follow the directions provided by your school division. We want the parents to use the video as a point of conversation with the teacher and an opportunity to discuss student performance. We're going to take this opportunity to show you an example of a personalized video.
Virginia has a beautiful and diverse geography, from the coastal regions reaching westward through the Piedmont toward the mountains and throughout southwestern Virginia. While the geography is diverse, one ideal that Virginians have in common is a belief in the importance of education for all students and the significance of families as partners in each student's educational experience. To support that partnership, Virginia is providing access to student performance reports through a parent portal beginning in fall 2021. The parent portal is designed to share detailed information about how students performed on their state assessments. That includes your student. This fall, Virginia students in grades 3 through 8 took new tests called growth assessments in reading and math to help identify what they have already learned, as well as the skills they may need additional help with during the school year. Legislation passed in the 2021 Virginia General Assembly requires that students take these growth assessments to measure their learning during the school year. These assessments are computer adaptive. Virginia students have been taking Computer Adaptive Standards of Learning tests, or SOL tests, for several years in the subject areas of reading and math. Computer adaptive tests, also known as CAT, select test questions for each student based on the student's responses to previous questions. This type of tailored test gives teachers and you a better understanding of your students' strengths, as well as the areas where they might need additional instruction. Use the link to the VDOE website displayed here to access more information on how CAT works. The Virginia Department of Education is committed to providing parents and students with reports that not only describe current student performance, but that also can inform future learning opportunities. An example of this type of report is the Student Detail by Question, or SDBQ report. Let's take a look at what this report tells us about how your student performed on the math test. Let's begin by reviewing the different parts of the report. First is some information about your student, the name of the test, and your student's vertical scaled score. The vertical scaled score is a new kind of score that allows us to measure a student's progress from one test to another. Next is a question-by-question description of everything covered on your student's test. The questions are divided into groups called reporting categories, such as number and number sense, or computation and estimation. As you can see, a check indicates that a question was answered correctly, and an X shows that an item was answered incorrectly. The SDBQ also gives you information about each question's difficulty level. The CAT selects questions that are neither too difficult nor too easy, based on the content knowledge demonstrated by your student. This report describes the questions your student answered and the difficulty level of those questions. To see how well your student performed in different categories, look for questions with the same or similar descriptors. This shows you how well they did with different questions addressing the same content and skills. Here's an example. Here your student answered 2 test questions on similar concepts or skills. Both questions were at the medium difficulty level. Your student answered both questions correctly. Based on this information, it appears that this may be an area of strength for your student. Let's look at another example. Here your student answered 2 test questions on similar concepts or skills. One question was at the medium difficulty level, and the other was low difficulty. Your student answered the low difficulty question correctly and the medium difficulty question incorrectly. Your student may benefit from more practice in this area. Let's look at some ways your student can continue to develop their math skills. Talk with your student when they solve math problems and have them explain how they got their answer. This will strengthen their math skills. Depending on your child's age, involve them in real-life activities that include math, such as cooking or determining the cost of items you are purchasing. Ask them questions when you're cooking, like, how much would we need if we doubled the recipe? What if we needed to make half as much? Or when shopping, ask them to estimate the total cost of your items. Consider the information discussed earlier in this video as you think of topics to discuss and questions to ask your student. Now that you have a better understanding of a specific area to focus on with your student, use the link displayed here to access some helpful resources that you may use to assist your child in math. These resources are provided by the Virginia Department of Education, specifically for parents to use with their students at home. If you have questions about how to support your student, it may be helpful to meet with their teacher. The teacher will have access to resources and other materials to further assist your student with the math content. In the spring, you will receive another student detail by question report and video after your student completes their SOL test. The combination of data from the fall and spring SDBQ reports will provide you and your student with valuable information on their knowledge and progress. Thank you for all you are doing to assist your student with their learning.
In spring 2022, the Parent Portal will not only continue to provide access to the SDBQ reports for the fall 2021 growth assessments, but it will also contain SDBQ reports for grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics standards of learning tests. The same account and claim code from fall 2021 will be used by parents to gain access to their child's reports for the spring 2022 SOL tests. As we noted earlier, the SDBQ report for the spring SOL test will include additional information that was not a part of the SDBQ report for the fall 2021 growth assessments. Additional information provided in these reports includes an overall test scaled score reported on a scale from 0 to 600, and the performance level that corresponds to that overall test scaled score, such as pass advanced, pass proficient, fail basic, or fail below basic.
Also, since the spring SOL test is a summative assessment that comprehensively covers grade level content, it will include more questions than the fall 2021 growth assessments. As a result, information on a greater number of test items will appear in each reporting category on the spring SOL test SDBQ reports when compared to the fall growth assessment SDBQ reports. The Virginia Department of Education has developed a Virginia Parent and Caregiver Resource page located at the web address shown on the screen. This is the same web page that parents are encouraged to visit near the conclusion of their SDBQ video. Those who visit the page will find information about growth assessments, as well as descriptions and links to resources for parents to consider when assisting their children in reading and mathematics. Thank you for your time today. Questions about the grades 3 through 8 reading and mathematics growth assessments, the student detail by question report, the personalized SDBQ report video overview, or the parent portal should be directed to the Office of Student Assessment using the email address or phone number shown on the screen. Questions about instruction in reading or mathematics should be directed to the Department of Learning and Innovation using the contact information shown. Thank you for watching this video presentation.